In this video, we're going to be talking about what I call mirror crochet. I think that's what I've seen other people call it as well. This is a technique that I use when I'm switching between working in rounds and rows. If you look at this one, these are a couple of old projects of mine that didn't really go any further. You can see that there's this switch between rounds and rows to make this split in the back. And you can see that there's this texture change as we don't have the fronts of our single crochets all facing the same way anymore. What mirror crochet allows us to do is essentially crochet with our other hand without switching which hand we're holding our hook in. So it's a little bit tricky, but it's really useful if you have a lot of rows that you're working and you want the texture to be the same as if you were working in rounds. This is something I also use basically whenever I'm switching between rounds and rows. So if I'm doing sort of short rows in a round to make more of a bend, I will also use this just because like it's not gonna be the most obvious in that situation, but just to sort of make it a little cleaner. So first of all, I'll show you a little bit of the thought process behind this and how we make sure that our stitches aren't doing yarn unders and they are doing yarn overs. So first of all, you're always working, whenever you're crocheting, you're kind of working in one direction. You're always working this way, right? So if you were working with your other hand, you'd be working in that direction. What we want to do is be able to work in this direction, but hold our hook and our yarn as we normally would, because that's a lot more comfortable. Like, it's a lot more comfortable for me to do this than to try and figure out how to do this. Like, this is just completely unnatural to me. So first of all, I'm going to chain one and turn, and I'm going to show you a single crochet just as normal. So you can see we're sort of, it's almost like we're laying the yarn over the hook. That's our yarn over. We're not really like wrapping or anything. It's just sort of laying over top and then sort of laying over top, coming from behind. And we're turning, both of these times, we're turning the hook towards the front of our work to grab the yarn. So when we're doing a mirror crochet, we're going to have to go in from the back because the back side is the front of our work. Now we're going to lay the yarn over the hook again, like we were doing before. And we grab it by turning the hook away from us. So turning the hook again towards the front of our work. If this is the front of our work, we're turning the hook away from us and towards the front. And we're going to do that again by laying the yarn over the hook, turning the hook away from us and towards the front of that work. So one more time, I'm just going to show you normal single crochet because we're turning that hook towards us. The mouth of the hook goes towards the front of the work in order to do that yarn over, versus this one, turning the hook away, turning the hook away. And that's the gist of it. It's really awkward at first. Like I have done this quite a bit, so this is a bit more natural to me, but it is still a very awkward thing to do at first. But yeah, this essentially eliminates that difference in texture between the working in rows versus rounds. So I'm going to work to the end of the row really quick just to see what this looks like. Okay, I've finished that row. It's a little bit difficult to see when we only have like 3 total rows worked. But if I get a little bit closer, you can sort of see that in this first row here, the bars of our single crochets, the bars of the back of the single crochet are showing through on this front side, versus with the next 2 rows, we only have these V's. So it's a little clearer if I look at this here, right? This really shows the row texture, and you can see that between every 2 rows, there's this row of what I've been calling bars. That's the back of a single crochet. So we're really just doing exactly what we kind of do, where we're keeping the fronts of our single crochets all on the same side of our work to create this similar texture. So if you did want to work this in rows, you would alternate rows of normal single crochet, mirrored single crochet, normal, mirrored, normal, mirrored. And that is what gives us this flat texture. So I hope that's a useful technique for you in whatever you use it for. I've used this in tapestry to sort of test out what that looks like as well. So it's just sort of another stitch to use for whatever you think it could be used for.